Hi dear students, it's after a week we meet together, and in the last week we had started with political science. I'm happy that you have done the examination well. We had conducted the examination in the new platform, that is Google Form, in the class test of your class. I appreciate the 42 students who completed it well. Among the 42, 36 of you won 5 out of 5. Congratulations. And others won 3 and 4. Very few mistakes were committed by you. I understand one thing. You were ready for the examination with the questions and answers which I had given in the classroom. And with the answers, I felt that some of you did not listen well to the video which I had given. I had asked questions from the video which I had given. Very simple and easy answers were not done by some of the students. Even then, I appreciate on the first day itself you did well with the Google form, with the new exam pattern. This week onwards, attending examination is mandatory, and on the basis of the attendance in the examination, you will be getting class attendance too. It will be marked. That's why we have implemented the new method. In the last week, 18 students did not attend the examination. It should not happen from this week onwards. We have new platform for examination, and it is mandatory that all students attend the examination. And now just revise the chapters, revise the portions which you had completed. In the last week, we started with Constitution. What is Constitution? Yeah, it is the basic rules and regulations of a country for its citizens and also for the government. And why do we need Constitution? We have already dealt with 5 points which demand a constitution in a country. And what is equality? Equality, many of you did not attempt the answer well for this question. What is equality? Considering everybody equal, irrespective of their caste, religion, state, language, that's what is equality in a state. So these concepts you have studied. And now, I want you to complete a worksheet. In page number 10 of your textbook, I have sent the copy of textbook to everybody. If you have not received the printed textbook, I have sent the soft copy of the textbook to all students who have demanded me. And if there are some students who have not received yet, just send a WhatsApp request to me and I will send it again to you. And in page number 10 of your textbook, there is a worksheet. You have to complete the columns of constitutive rules. The other column is filled in the textbook with certain occurrences which are referred in your textbook. And in compatible to that, you have to complete the next column. An example is done already there, and you just understand which constitutive rule is applicable to each instances given in your textbook. Complete that worksheet. After completing that, before the examination tomorrow at 7 p.m., send the copy to my WhatsApp number. I hope all of you will do it so that I can understand you have studied the lesson well. Do it after this session. You have already studied what is equality, and today another concept we are dealing with, that is adult franchise, universal adult franchise. So what is universal adult franchise? We will study it. So universal adult franchise, all adult citizens have their right to vote irrespective of their social or economical background. In India, adult means citizens above the age of 18. So none of you are adults. So we teachers, we are all adults. So adult franchise means you have the privilege to vote or participate in the election, irrespective of your social or economic background. In front of the country, there is no special privilege for anybody on the base of their economical power, social status, nothing. Whether you are the president of the country or whether you are a poor farmer, whoever you have one vote for each election. So universal adult franchise. Every citizen, irrespective of their social status or economical background, is having the right to vote in the election. So you will be waiting for your first vote, maybe after 5 or 6 years. You will be adult citizens in India, and maybe the next legislative assembly election in Kerala will take place in the coming May. And after that election, after 5 years, we will have the next election. I hope all of you will be participating in that election after completing the age of age of 18. So in 2021 election, you may not be having vote, but in 2026 election, wait, you will have the right to vote for that election. So study this concept. What is universal adult franchise? Universal adult franchise means all adult citizens have their right to vote irrespective of their social or economical background. And adult means in India a citizen above the age of 18. Okay. So dear students, you have studied in the history the beginning of or the first half of 20th century was a time of struggle in India. Until 1947, the citizens of India were struggling for independence. Nationalistic movements were taking place in the beginning of the 20th century. Mahatma Gandhi was leading it, and by 1940s, Indians had a hope for an independent India. The leaders of India during that time had a dream regarding New India. Until then, Indians were obeying the rules which were not made by Indians, which was imposed by Britishers. So now, when a new India is formed, it should be in a new form. It should not be like the plundered administration of Britishers. It should not be imposed upon anybody. That was the dream of the visionaries in India during that time. So before independence, the leaders of Indian independence war already started formulating the new dreams regarding the new India. They had the dream that India should be a democratic country. All citizens of India should be participating in the formation of government. So the imposed rules upon Indians by Britishers were not acceptable for the people and for the leaders, and now they have a dream for a democratic country. So in 1946, a team of almost 300 people was formulated to constitute the Constituent Assembly. It was the duty of this Constituent Assembly to form the Constitution of India. It was formed in 1946, and for the next 3 years, they were working as a team. The unity of this Constituent Assembly is referred many times. They worked as a team, and they were unanimous in the opinion that India should be a democratic country, and all citizens in India, irrespective of their language, culture, religion, economic background, should be given equal status in India. So they formulated such a plan in drafting the Constitution of India. The diversity of India during that time was really a struggle in front of the formulators of Constitution. India was a country and still is a country having different religions, cultures, states, languages, everything. How to constitute, how to unite all these people together? It was really a hectic task in front of the people who were drafting the constitution. And you know, during that time, the turmoil of partition was in front of them. India was being divided by the time of independence. Two countries were formed, Pakistan and India. This turmoil also was an obstacle in the formation of the constitution. But under the leadership of Baba Sahib Ambedkar, the people who were part of the Constituent Assembly stood together to form the new constitution. The new constitution accepted the diversity, accepted all people in the country, whether they are from whatever background they are from, the people were accepted and the difference was accepted by the constitution. And they wanted to make sure that equality should be made sure in the new democratic country. And the constitution also emphasized on the improvement of the country, eradication of the poverty. Poverty was a major issue during that time. With implementation of socio-economic programs and reforms, the constitution emphasized poverty should be eradicated from the country. It was in this context the Constitution of India was formulated. And now you should study who constituted the Constitution of India. Here you should study a new question. Who drafted the Constitution of India? The Constitution of India was drafted by a group of around 300 people who became members of the Constituent Assembly. So, it was not constituted by a single person. The team was led by Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar, but it was a team of 300 people, and their team was called the Constituent Assembly, and this team drafted the Constitution of India. This Constituent Assembly was formed in 1946. It was formed in 1946, and as I already told you, they worked more than 3 years together to form the Constitution. The Constituent Assembly was formed in 1946, and when did the Constitution of India come in force? Actually, it came into force on 26 January 1950. See the formation of the Constitution of India. In August 1947, the drafting committee was set up under Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And on 26 November 1947, the final draft of the Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly. And the Constitution of India came into force on 26 January 1950. Totally, it takes 2 years and 11 months and 18 days for drafting the Constitution of India. The team was led by Dr. Ambedkar. So, if you are asked a question, when did the Constitution of India come into force? Write the answer on 26 January 1950. What is the speciality of that day? By accepting the Constitution, India became a republic. India became republic on 26 January 1950, on which day the Constitution of India came into force. The Constituent Assembly of India was chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So he is known as the father of Indian Constitution. He was a man of great visions. He had studied constitutions of more than 60 countries before drafting the Constitution of India. His hard work really reflected in the Constitution of India. So, among the leaders of the country, we respect and love Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He is known as the father of Indian Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. An important thing that we have to study today is the features of Indian Constitution. The constitution of every country will have its own features, and it will be according to the way of the rule taking place in that country. India is a democratic country, so automatically the constitution of India will reflect the features of a democratic country. So in India, these 5 features are there in the constitution. Point number 1, federalism. 2, parliamentary form of government. 3, separation of powers. 4, fundamental rights. And 5, secularism. So, on the basis of an examination, I tell you one thing. If you are asked a question of 1 or 2 marks, what are the key features of Indian Constitution? You can write it as the answer. But it will be an essay question. And if it is a long mark question, or maybe 3 mark, 4 mark, or 5 mark question, you have to give explanation. So I will come to the explanation of these points. So just understand, there are these 5 points, these 5 features for the Constitution of India. What all are they? Federalism, parliamentary form of government, separation of powers, fundamental rights, and secularism. So now I will explain all these points independently. So you have to study them, and when you write the notes, write the question, what are the key features of Indian Constitution? And in the answer, you have to write these 5 titles, and under each title, the explanation which I give in the coming slides should be written. Okay. The first feature of the Constitution of India is federalism. What is federalism? In federalism, the country is having more than one level of government. In India, we have more than one level of government. In India, we have central government, state government, and local self-government or panchayats. We used to vote for 3 elections in India, to the parliament, to the assembly, and to the panchayat. Our panchayat election may be coming in the next October. The parliament election is already over in the last year, and our assembly election is coming in the next May. So these 3 forms of governments are existing in India. Each form of government is having its own powers. In a panchayat, the panchayat is having certain powers. Panchayat may be ruled by, for example, in Kerala, the state is ruled by LDF now. Maybe a panchayat is ruled by Congress party, UDF, and state is ruled by LDF, and the central government is formed by BJP. So whichever party it is, for each government, maybe local self-government or state government or central government, each government is having its own area of power. In a state, the state government can take decisions on cases related to the state. But if there are certain cases which are of central demand or national demand, on such occasions, all state governments have to see the national interest and follow the national laws. So federalism refers to the existence of more than one level of government. In India, we have 3 levels of government: central, state, and panchayats. Each state in India enjoys autonomy in exercising powers on certain issues, but in certain subjects of national concern, all states should follow the laws of the central government. That is the role. At the same time, the states can follow its own rules on affairs of the state. This is federalism. More than one form of government is there, and powers are divided among each government. Central government do not interfere on issues of state government. And panchayats are there which are having its own powers. So that is federalism. India is a federal democratic country. After federalism, the second feature of the Constitution of India is the parliamentary form of government. What does it mean? It means a representative form of government. The government of India is representing the people of India. It may be BJP who is ruling now, but they are ruling for the people. They are elected by the people. In the last parliament election, they have won more than half of the seats and they have the right to rule the country. So BJP is ruling the country, representing the people of the country. And people of India have direct role in electing the representatives. All the MPs in the parliament are directly elected by the people. So the parliamentary form of government means a representative form of government. Every citizen of India have the right to vote, and at the same time there is another right for each citizen, the right to contest in election. Any citizen have the right to contest in election. So in the next legislative assembly, as I am an adult citizen, I have the right to contest. It doesn't matter whether people vote for me, but I have the right to compete in the election and to be elected. And I have the right to vote for the candidates whom I want. That freedom is there. So the government is the representation of the people. See, the parliamentary form of government, it means a representative form of government. The people of India have direct role in electing their representatives. Every citizen of the country can also contest in elections irrespective of their social and economical background. Now, you have to take down this as the second point. What are we studying now? The key features of Indian Constitution. First point was federalism, and now the second point is parliamentary form of government. The third feature of Indian Constitution is the separation of powers. Separation of powers between what? There are three organs of government: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. What is legislature? Legislature is the law-making body. In the central level, it is the parliament. In the state, it is the MLAs, the legislative assembly. And in the panchayats, the members of the panchayat. So in each level, these elected representatives are the lawmakers. So legislature makes the law. Now, the executive execute the law. And third, the judiciary interpret the law. Let us come directly to certain examples. So our MLA, Karat Rasak is our MLA. So he is part of the legislative assembly. So they together in the legislative assembly make a new law. In the present situation of pandemic COVID-19, a new law was formulated by the Kerala state government. Don't spit on the road. If you spit on the road, a fine of rupees 500 will be charged. So that law was made by the legislature. Now, if you spit on the road, the MLA will not come to catch you. You will be caught by the executive. It is the duty of the executive to execute the law. Who all are part of the executive? The district collector, the police officers. So if you spit on the road, the police will catch you. And you argue to the police, you have not seen me spitting on the road. I have not done it. Now, you are arguing to the police. People were used to spit on the road earlier also. I am spitting now too. Now the police will take you to the judiciary, and then judiciary will interpret the law. Judiciary interprets in the present situation of the pandemic, the law implemented by the government is something important. If you have violated the law, you deserve punishment. So you are supposed to pay fine to the court. So three organs of government have three roles. Here judiciary does not come, the judges will not come to the road to implement the law, to execute the law. It is the duty of the executive. And the judiciary will not make new laws. Judiciary is not, you have studied about judiciary and you will be coming in the third chapter about the judiciary and judicial reviews, where there is importance for judiciary to make laws. But the laws are usually made by the legislature. So this separation of powers is clear with the constitution. The separation of powers means there are three organs of government: legislature, executive and judiciary. Constitution separates the powers of each of these organs. Each of these organs exercise different powers and they check on the other organ to balance power between all three. So we have studied three features of the Constitution of India. First one, federalism. Second one, parliamentary form of government. And third one is the separation of powers between the three organs of government. We have not completed the features of the Constitution of India. We have 5 features to explain. We have explained only 3. With this, I am stopping today because a lot of contents coming together will make you bored. So 3 features we have completed today, and we will study 2 more features in the next class, and there are certain other things too to study from this chapter. So we will explain all those things in the next chapter. So we have studied regarding the formation of the Constitution of India today. We studied about the leaders of the Constituent Assembly and the 3 features of the Constitution of India. All these things you have to study. As we heard last week, we will be having the exam in Google form. It will come in your class test tomorrow at 7 p.m. So all of you should attend the examination. It will be on the basis of the attendance in the examination that I mark your attendance in the class. So wish you all the best. Have a nice day. Do your studies well. Stay safe at home. Thank you very much, my dear children.